Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU. All right, another episode, another reason to love your HBCU. Welcome, Quindon Dais. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well. All right, let's get right to it.
Yes, ma'am.
You are a student of Clark Atlanta University. Rate your institution from 1 to 10.
Well, for me, I would have to say 10, even though, every HBCU has its problem, but there's no place in the world like Clark Atlanta. There's no place like CAU. We always say it, and it's true. So 10 out of 10, no HBCU is better than mine. I love my
it.
HBCU.
I love it. I absolutely listen. You were ready. You were ready. You were ready with the number, and you were ready with your reason. And again, I did not go to Clark Atlanta University, but I've been getting to know a whole lot more about Clark Atlanta University, and Clark Atlanta University is one of one. It just is. It's one of one. There's nothing that's comparable to Clark Atlanta University. Okay. Quindon, you are several things at your institution, and I'm going to let you break down what all of those different hats are that this young first semester sophomore is already getting himself into. So please go ahead.
Well, since my journey started at Clark Atlanta, I've served as Mr. Google Scholar, second attended was my first position, freshman class president, Men of Clark Atlanta University's 2028 representative, who I am I am a member of the Isabella T. Jenkins Honors Program. I am also the new 25-26 academic school year elect for Mr. Sophomore. So, claps up for that. And, a lot of other things that, I have my hand in on campus.
You sound like one of those young students who came and hit the ground running.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
I've heard people give advice to freshmen, do everything, like get your hands dirty, and then start getting a little bit more selective as you matriculate along. How do you, because you're also it's Jenkins honors student?
Yes, Isabella T. Jenkins, yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. So you're also an honors student. So for those who listened to everything you just mentioned, and you are the incoming Mr. Sophomore for 25-26 academic year, how do you balance everything?
My way of balancing it all is truly just to do it. Like, honestly, it's funny, but Nike says, just do it. Honestly, don't sell yourself short. Don't tell yourself that you can't do it. Just be able to affirm yourself and tell yourself that I'm strong enough to do anything that I set my mind to. I can do it. So everything's manageable as long as you deem it as so.
So you saw that smile on my face as you were talking, because you sound like you are part of my generation, and clearly I am older than you. But you sound like my generation that will typically tell people, don't overthink the things that you want to do, just get it done. But Quindon, let's be honest, that's not the motto for your generation.
Yeah.
Your generation, I think all of us, let me be fair to your generation, all of us, especially when we were younger, wanted things to happen really quick, really easy. We wanted instant gratification.
Yes.
I think your generation, and listen, you've got every right to say now, Tosin, that's wrong. I'm of this generation, so I know better. So I will speak up for my generation. Please do so. My experience with your generation is they don't just do it. They hesitate a lot. They second guess themselves a lot. They question, well, is this the right time? Should I not? Who's looking at me? Maybe there seems to be a lot, hesitation is a word that I'm going to use.
Mhm.
As somebody who's borrowing a mantra from my generation and using it to his advantage, what would you say to your cohort, to your peers, beyond just do it? What would you say to them? Because they know that phrase, right?
Mhm.
But you're actually putting the phrase in action.
Yes.
What would you say that you hope would encourage them to actually just do it?
I think that just for me, speaking from experience, honestly, and that's truly what it is. Like when you actually get the experience of just doing it, putting yourself out there, managing multiple things at a time, then you're able to say that. I think that it all just comes from wisdom, honestly. And it's just like knowing your power, knowing what you're able to do, knowing what you're able to achieve. It's all there for you. So I think that in my generation, because even myself, sometimes I consider myself a logical thinker. So I always, just immediately go to solution, problem,
Mm,
solution. What's going to happen, and that's just me. But I think like you talked about just the over analyzing things, kind of like really just going into things. I think that it's like you said, it's a generational thing because I think in the current climate that we live in, for some things, being over analytical can be good at times because I feel like in this day and age there's a lot of underlying messages and a lot of people don't say things straightforward how they might have during your generation. So I think that that's kind of something that we could use to our advantage, but when it comes to actually doing things for ourselves, I think it's just important to know and of course it comes from experience and the wisdom of actually doing these things, actually being involved, actually putting yourself out there is how to do it and how to navigate it. You have to get the experience first to decide how exactly will I accomplish anything.
I love it. As you were talking, I also, I couldn't help but hear some confidence as you were talking. And the way I tied everything you said together was the more you do something, the more you realize, A, you can, B, you get more confident in doing it. That's I took that away from what you were saying, and I hear it even in your voice as you're talking, that he gets things done because he actually just gets them done.
Yes.
Quindon, I'm going to pivot very, very for a hot second
Uh-huh.
and throw our rapid fire segment at you. 67 seconds are going to go on the clock, and you're going to answer as many of these questions as possible. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right, let's
All
do
right,
it.
Quindon, describe yourself in 3 words.
Confident, passionate, and leader.
I love it. I love it. Ooh, I always love this question for students. You're at your college graduation. Who do you want as your commencement speaker, your graduation speaker?
Great question. Um, if we were talking about alive or dead, because he's from South Carolina, I would have dreamed to have Chadwick Boseman, but he's not here with us. But overall, that's a great question. I would say maybe someone about I'm gonna say a CEO. Maybe like actually I'm gonna go with Carl Ware. He's an alumni of Clark College, and he was the first Black CEO for Coca-Cola.
Nice.
Yes,
Love it.
Carl
Love
Ware.
it. Okay, what's your best meal at your HBCU?
Okay, so this is a trick question because in the summer when I came, they had an amazing brisket, and it's like you can
Ooh,
catch it. You may catch it once or twice in the year, but it's in the summer when I caught the best one. So it's definitely the brisket that I had in the cab.
the brisket. I love it. What's your unpopular opinion about HBCUs?
Hmm. That every HBCU has its problems, so everyone shouldn't try to highlight them because we all have them going on. Yeah. Yeah.
Quindon, yes. Okay, okay, okay. I was just told that my time is up, so but I'm still gonna ask you a couple more questions. Okay. Shout out your favorite professor or administrator or just person at your campus.
um it would have to be Dr. Stacey Robertson, my advisor for Google Scholar Academy.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
What message do you have for your president that you have not shared with them yet?
We as students will work to the best of our ability to improve the university day by day.
I love it. That was a nice one. That was a nice one. That was a nice one. Listen, I have to quickly go back to your unpopular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to restate it for you, but I want to state it how I understood it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Yes, it is.
So the way I understood your unpopular opinion is this. Just because we know that there are problems at HBCUs does not mean we should not do the work to fix them. At all HBCUs does not mean we should not do the work to fix them at our HBCU.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. So tell me how, tell me, give me more on that unpopular opinion. You can tell that I feel you on that unpopular opinion. I do. Because I'm one of those people that I think we can always do something to make something a little bit better. But tell me where did that come from for you to state that as your unpopular opinion?
I think, like, when we talk about the conversation of just generation and being a part of Gen Z, our generation is one that's heavy into social media. So I think that a lot of times, a lot of problems that we have, HBCU students worldwide, we may highlight the problem and run to TikTok, Instagram to immediately get the public opinion or to let everyone see it. But I think that we take that route instead of actually trying to fix it ourselves and actually being the change that we want to see. Like, if it's a problem at your HBCU, you to post it on social media is one thing, but actually going to, your president, your provost, the board of trustees, actually talking to them, actually trying to improve it is the better route, in my opinion, than, just publicizing it to let everyone judge your HBCU and talk about, the problems that HBCU has as a whole, when we know there are other reasons as to why these HBCUs have these problems in the first place.
I appreciate you. So Quindon, you are absolutely at what some consider now the Mecca hub of some HBCUs, Atlanta, Georgia. You're at the AUC, you're at Clark Atlanta University specifically. However, you are from Sumter, South Carolina, and Sumter has a special place in my heart. I've been there. I love it. There are several HBCUs that you could have picked from on your way to Georgia.
Yeah.
Give us your college selection journey. How did you end up at Clark Atlanta University?
Wow. So it's a funny story. So in elementary school, I actually dreamed of going to Howard. I was like, I'm going to Howard. But then around middle school, I changed my mind for just some reasons, just seeing some things about Howard, DC. I was like, maybe that's not where I want to go. And I knew that I wanted to live in Atlanta eventually.
Okay.
Like, it had to been at some time, some point, probably to stay because, this is the Black Mecca. This is Black wealth. Like, this is really what it's about in Atlanta. So I just knew that I wanted to be here some way, somehow. So it was about 7th grade. I literally Googled colleges in Atlanta. And I knew about Morehouse, of course, just Dr. King and, the rich history and all of that. But that I just was like, I don't want to be like every other Black man, just going to Morehouse. Like, I want to see what's the other options. Like, I want to be a little different. So I ended up Googling and I saw Clark Atlanta. So I'm like, so this college has Atlanta in its name. What's going on? Like, what's up with this one? So, just really, and I was about to say with a little research, but actually at that point, I had done no research at all. And I was just like, I'm going to this college. So it was literally up until my sophomore year in high school. It was right after COVID. So I actually went on a college tour with one of my mentors, Dr. James Mumford, at Knowledge for College, a program in Sumter, South Carolina. But they took us to Alabama, Tennessee, and Atlanta, all college tours.
Mm.
So we actually came to the AUC, but the campuses were closed because of COVID. Like we couldn't really tour them. We could just like go on the outskirts of the campus,
Mm.
not knowing at the time that CAU was an open campus. So we really could walk on.
You could have
But
just walked on
we could
it.
just walk on. But
Give yourself a self tour.
I saw I actually, and what sold me at that moment was I saw through the gate because we couldn't tour the campus, but I saw our grass, like it's just our sacred grass, and I saw it and I was just like, that is so beautiful. Like this is my school. And then from there in high school, like people would ask, where you going to college? I'm going to Clark Atlanta. Where you going? I'm family members cookouts. I'm going to Clark Atlanta. Like, and even I didn't even know much about the school even at that point because I always tell people like when I wanted to come to CAU, it seemed like I couldn't find anything, but I just knew I was coming to CAU. So I literally was just telling people, I'm going, and I came to open house after I applied. I came to open house. And as soon as I sat in that NPR, saw the orientation guides, saw everything going on, I was just like, this is the place for me. This is the place where, I'm supposed to be. So there it solidified it. I came back home. Everybody asking me, you say you're going to Clark Atlanta. Have you been accepted? I hadn't gotten acceptance yet. So, I told him, I said, yeah, I got my acceptance because I was speaking it into existence. Like I was manifesting it. Like
Yeah.
I knew I was coming regardless. There
Yes.
wasn't a question. It wasn't a unsure bone in my body that I wasn't going to be here.
Yeah.
So I knew I was coming, and in November I got my acceptance, and that pretty
That was
much
it.
scratched every other college off the list. As long as I had my acceptance from Clark Atlanta, everything was perfect.
I love your story because your story to me sounds like one that went off of feeling. So I love asking this question, by the way, especially of current students. I don't ask that question of alum. I only ask it of current students. We are living in a day and age where, thankfully, more students know about what an HBCU is.
Yes.
Back in the day, no. You, especially depending on where you were. If you were in the South, it is likely you might know. But if you were in the North, Northeast, it's yes, we've got colleges and HBCUs, but you may not necessarily hear about them all the time, depending on where you are. So when it comes to a current student picking an HBCU, it is very interesting to hear the reason that they give with regards to why they picked the HBCU. Now, here's what's also quite interesting. I'm finding, and I'm grateful for this, more and more of you, even though money is often one of your reasons that might have propelled the actual decision, it's not always the first one you say.
Mm-hmm.
For the current students, the reason that you give for which HBCU you selected often has to do with a feeling, a desire, a visit. Like the reasons are very, very different when it comes to the current. Most of my alum that we talk to, it's who's giving me the money. Like
Mm-hmm.
who's paying for it, and that's where I'm going. So it's interesting to hear how you guys make your selection.
Yeah.
You're now at Clark Atlanta. You've been there for a year. You are going into your no. You are in your sophomore year. My apologies. Would you do anything different after year one?
Huh.
I'm giving you. So typically people ask this question, and they ask this question senior year, and then
Yeah.
they have to think all the way back.
Yeah.
I'm giving you an opportunity to do a shorter form reflection to see, do I like the track that I'm on? Would I have entered a little bit differently? Or if you can't tell us what you would have done differently, share some of your goals with us at Clark Atlanta University, because you're going to make impact at Clark Atlanta University.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Yeah. So for me, I would say like I really don't regret anything from freshman year. I think
Good.
that truly everything happens for a reason. um, things that have been for me. It's something that God has granted me. Like truly, everything that has happened, I believe that is written. So everything that I experience at Clark Atlanta University, it's already been said, it's already been done at just during that time. I just haven't been fortunate enough to experience it yet. But I will say that, I want to really leave a legacy here and really leave lasting impact. Like that's just the point, really embody the culture for service, really give back because that's why I'm here in the first place. Why I had to leave Sumter, South Carolina is to come gain some experience, gain some knowledge that the people back home may not have and be able to not only pour back into my own community but the community around me.
Legacy, lasting impact. Those are the three things I quickly wrote as you were saying that. And I think as somebody who is already a Google scholar, somebody who is already taking on several titles at your institution, you're on your way. You were Mr. Freshman, yes?
Freshman class president.
My apologies, my
Oh,
apologies. Freshman class president.
yeah.
I've never thought about asking this question until this moment, and I hope I'm enlightening those like me who did not necessarily have the culture and the tradition of the royal court and
Mm,
so on and so forth. It was new to me. I did not know it before coming to college. I did college in the US, don't get me wrong, but before then, I did not know what any of these things were. So I didn't get into a lot of those things. And I'm like, what is this?
right.
Whereas most of you already know what that is. You are part of the royal court. Can you, to the best of your ability, Quindon, why is the royal court so important at HBCUs? Because a lot of HBCUs hold it in, they revere the royal court. Your Mr., your Miss at your institutions, and then at the different classifications. What's so important about the royal court at HBCUs?
So, of course, I can speak for Clark Atlanta, but I feel like it's universal with all HBCUs. Really, Royal Court is the representation of the student body. That's why you have your class king and queens, Mr. and Miss Freshman, Mr. and Miss Sophomore, junior, senior, and then you have your Mr. and Miss who represent the entire university. So I think like with Royal Court, it's about really shining a light on young Black excellence and showing that us as HBCU scholars, we are able to, set a standard amongst our peers, amongst our institution. It's really important, and we represent what every student stands for. And that's why when we campaign to the student body and they vote us in these positions because truly the students should align with their representation. If we are the people that's representing them to the alumni of our institution, to other kings and queens, to other institutions, it's important that we send people that are
Mm,
going to
mm.
network correctly and actually convey the central ideas and purposes of Clark Atlanta University. So that's really the point of Royal Court is to really embody what it means to be a Clark Atlanta University Panther and an HBCU student in total.
So I have many circles in my network, and I can hear someone in one of those networks saying, "Tosin, why that question? What was the inspiration?" And you don't understand how grateful I am that I asked you that question because of especially the last part of that answer that you gave. Let me be that person for a hot second who, when I see the royal court and dear God, listen, I'm going to be Tosin, so I'm going to say what's on my mind. I don't value it.
Hmm.
I see it as pomp and circumstance that's very superficial at times. and pomp and circumstance that has no real meaning behind it. Just being
Yeah.
just being honest.
Mhm.
And I think I'm speaking for myself. However, I doubt that I'm only speaking for myself.
Right.
So I'm grateful that I asked you that question.
Yeah.
I love the last part of the question. Even though I may not always agree that the students that end up getting selected are truly representative of the student body, I love the charge that you described that they're supposed to have. And
Yes.
that is if Quindon is the one that you're sending out there to be representative of your sophomore class to all these different constituencies, he really should be representative of the sophomore class. And
Yes.
there should be ideologies that you all share that
Yes.
allows you to say, yes, let Quindon be the one that speaks for us. I sincerely appreciate the weight that you've given to those different titles within the royal court, because prior to hearing you say it, that's not the way I see it. I
Yeah.
see it as frivolous most of the time. Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
And I think that really it's our responsibility as members of a royal court to distort that image, to stop that message, because honestly and truly, I think that, that is what happens. A lot of people kind of, get in positions and, may not see the real potential of it. How beautiful it can
Mm.
actually be and how meaningful that your position is. Because I think that really in those positions, you have to represent. You have to not only represent, but advocate and know that we're still the same as any other student at this institution. We're all the same. But my job as a Mr. Sophomore is to show the world and my community that here at Clark Atlanta, we're students who are passionate. We're students who are confident. We're students who are leaders. Going back to the three words that I use to describe myself, because at the end of the day, whatever message, like you said, when you view Royal Court, how you see it, however we convey that message is how it will be seen by the public. So I think that it's really our responsibility to change dynamics, to alter, just how people view the Royal Court. Because if the Royal Court was, moving in action, advocating, representing to the fullest extent worldwide, then it would have so much more impact. So I think that it's definitely our responsibility as court members to do that and make sure that that part of HBCU culture is protected.
Speaking of impact, you've used that word 3 times. I love that word, by the way. But you've used that word 3 times, and you represent the future, literally, in the space of leadership, in the space of advocacy. When you look around your world, the world that we have created for you, that you are inheriting from us, grade us. How well have we done with regards to the world that we have, quote unquote, created for you? Or how badly have we done? Another way to approach that question is, what issues are you looking forward to your generation doing better than we did?
I would definitely say number one is as a college student, of course, but just education and not just the college degree or the high school diploma, but the actual education of not only our people, but of the world, the economy. Like there's so much things that we kind of, I would say just Gen Z, outside of the millennial generation is, I feel like our generation is one that's kind of figuring it out, because I think that, the
Hmm.
millennial generation, I definitely give y'all flowers because, you know, I love the millennials. Like my mom is a millennial, so I definitely, my mom and dad, they're both millennials. So it's like I've seen it in real time,
Mm.
and just their peers, their friends, their cousins. I've seen, the mindsets and the thinking. And I think that Gen Z's purpose is to kind of build on that, expound, but also rebrand. So I think that it's important that we educate the people coming up under us, like just about our people, our true history. Because a lot of times, in school, we're even seeing in the current political climate that they're trying to erase Black history. So it's our responsibility to educate our rising future African American scholars, leaders, all visionaries. We have to educate them, one. Two, we have to make sure that they're prepared for the world. They're prepared for financial literacy.
Mm.
Their, children are prepared for college. We don't have any, young kids questioning whether or not we want to go to college, because as a college student, I can truly say college is not for everybody.
Mm. Mm.
Everyone cannot commit to being in college. Everyone can't, be a broke college student. They don't, everyone can't be in that position just because of how you are and who you are. So I think that, it's important to educate people on their other options. You can pick up a trade,
Mm.
you can do all of these different things. And I think that's what's so great about our generation as well, is we're very innovative, and there's always something to do. There's always something to figure out. There's always a way to pivot, how we want to go about this, how we want to do that. Because I think that we all can truly succeed if we really want to, but we just have to push ourselves and strive to do that. So I think that, the generation before us, of course, I was raised by that generation. So I feel like, they did a pretty good job, if I do say so myself, because I'm here today. But, I think that it's just important that we extend that and just continue to get better. And something that my granddad always talks about to me is that his dad told him that he should be better than him. He told his son he should be better than him, and I should be better than my dad, because it's important that we just continue to build that legacy and continue to just make it greater than what it already is.
Quindon, you referenced something that a lot of well, there was a report in the New York Times not too long ago, and there are several institutions, HBCUs particularly, who are grappling with this particular notion, and that is young Black men not enrolling in college. But the reference that you made, which I personally appreciate, is not everybody actually belongs in college, and not everybody must go to college. So it's a twofold question for you, right? As a young Black brilliant male student, college student, what reason do you think it is that those numbers are what they are? And if I'm not mistaken, I'm not good with numbers. I believe it is about 19% of college students at HBCUs are men and the rest are women. Um, I don't think we've gotten yet into categorizing them as non-binary with regards to the
Mhm.
research yet. So again, before people come at me, I'm not good with numbers. I've already said that. And I'm summarizing what I've read, but the numbers are low. Whatever the numbers are, they're extremely low. What do you think the reason is? And I know you cannot answer for every young Black man.
Mhm.
You are in college, but what do you think? Why? What are your top two reasons why you're like your some of your peers might have decided, yeah, this isn't for me.
I think that, well, I don't have two reasons. I actually have one that I
Okay.
feel like is the concrete reason. And I think it's because, like I talked about, we have to educate and prepare them before they get to this point. Like, I'm 18 years old. So before a young Black man is 16, 17, 18, talking about college in high school, planning for college, he should be educated on this stuff as an adolescent, like at 4 years old, 5 years. Do you want to go to college? We have to instill this in them young. to build up like generational success, generational wealth. You have to instill it in the early stages, in the beginning. It comes from really being that village and being that community, because that's something that I can truly say that I had as a child. Was I had, older people in my family constantly pouring into me, constantly telling me that I could succeed, that I could achieve anything that I wanted to, really telling them that the sky is the limit. You can do this, and pushing them into their purpose. We can't constantly allow them to, fall by the wayside and just be the statistic that
Mm.
we're talking about, And it's funny that you asked this question, because this was actually the oratory topic for our Rory Court Showcase. Yes. So it's just the point of being there when they're young, being that example. And us as Black men in college, in successful careers, being that example.
Mm.
Mentorship is a big thing. Like, we have to reach back and serve our communities, pour into the young men coming to sit in the seats that we're in, because at the end of the day, that is our responsibility. Once we receive the education, it is up to us to educate everyone else. So I think that that's something that I'm extremely big on. Like, even my little cousins, when I go home, I just remember being a child, and my cousins that were in college or successful, they were asking me, how are you doing in school? What's going on? Talking about that. And I make sure that I carry that on. Every time I go home, I'm asking my little cousin, like, how's school? You're ready for the next grade, depending on what time of the year it is, and just talking to him about what exactly it is that you're experiencing, and what can I do to help you unpack what you are experiencing, and letting you know that there's more to experience, and you can do it no matter what. You just have to put your mind to it and apply yourself and be intentional in all of your actions.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Educate a lot younger before they get to the next step.
Yes.
Inform them. Make sure it's something that they're hearing about. And then let them know what their options are. Because again, the reason why I brought this up is when I heard you say college is not for everyone, but if college isn't for everyone, you've got to let people know what their other options are so that they
Exactly.
can start exploring what those things
Exactly.
are. Because
Exactly.
not everybody is going to go to college. Let's just be very clear. And I don't think that necessarily needs to be made to be seen as a bad thing. So I
Hmm.
appreciate that. Quindon, you are clearly in the running to be one of the best ambassadors for Clark Atlanta University. That's very clear. And it is very clear also that Clark Atlanta University gets so many things right for you. What is one thing that Clark Atlanta could get better that you would like to see more of your peers, more of your administrators, more of the entire Clark Atlanta University family rally around to make that thing better?
I would say, even though I think, because of course I can't speak for other HBCUs, but I also think it's something of our generation as well. But I
Okay.
think it's just, I would say more so of my peers, is just the importance of community, and
Mm,
understanding that, we really need each other at the end of the day.
mm,
And
mm,
no matter what issues we may have, no matter
mm.
what problems we may see, the different mindsets, our different viewpoints, we're so much stronger together. And I think that, just from knowing, because I will be something else, I will be an orientation guide, um, going into the summer and next year. So as an orientation guide, just knowing the history of Clark Atlanta, and knowing, where we came from, and how they really made Clark Atlanta University. I think that is so much important, that we understand that our ancestors did a lot with less.
Little, very little.
But one thing that they had was community. They leaned on one another and they did
Yeah.
things together. I think that we kind of have a autonomous generation where everyone
Mm.
is trying to figure it out themselves, you know, get it done. Everyone's trying to find their own path to success. But at the end of the day, without brotherhood, without sisterhood, without allyship, you won't get as far as you may want to. Like, you can't do everything alone. You need a team. You need a group of supporting people, someone to tell you, you know, chin up, chest out. We got this. Let's go. Let's get it done. Like, when you're feeling down, like, you have that support system. You have someone to lean on. We really have to embark on community and understand what it means and understand why it's so important.
Quindon Dais, is there anything that when you got this call and you said yes to being our guest, you're like, okay, I'm definitely going to share this. Is there something that I have not done a great job of asking you that you're going to bless our audience with before we end the recording?
I would just say that, of course, we're doing I Love My HBCU. So, any prospective college students, looking at this, even if Clark Atlanta is not the place for you, pick an HBCU. We are truly going to be the next movers and shakers. We're
Hmm.
going to be the cream. We are the cream of the crop. We can do this. We are Black excellence. You are Black excellence. So, something that we say, go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. Um, and be the change you want to see, seek out, be leaders, be servant leaders. Make sure that you're serving everyone, because here at Clark Atlanta, we talk about a culture for service, and it's truly giving and being of service to everyone and to the entire world and to your community. So for all of the listeners, you are everything that you think you are. You can be anything that you put your mind to, and you will be someone someday.
Listen, sir. You will be someone amazing that we're all going to be paying attention to someday. You already are amazing, but the whole world is going to get to hear your name. Quindon Dais, bring it on home for us. In one word or short phrase, why do you love HBCUs?
There's no place like an HBCU. There's no place. And that's it. You can pick and choose how you take it, but there's no place in the world like an HBCU.
I'm leaving that alone. It is impossible for a prospective student to stumble upon this episode, for a current student at an HBCU to stumble upon this episode and not like and subscribe to I Love My HBCU because of Quindon Dais. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone get engaged with this episode thanks to Quindon. Thank you for tuning into I Love My HBCU ? Until next episode, see you next time. You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.